10 past here in Moscow. Austria's defense minister plans to propose an overhaul of the EU's migrant policy to take a tougher stance on the crisis.
It's about ending the failed European asylum policies. We must all stand up and honestly say that the absorption capacities in the EU are limited. We must stop illegal entry.
It comes after around 20 young women were sexually assaulted during New Year's celebrations in the city of Innsbruck. A group of men described as being of foreign appearance encircled the women and started to grope them. Now, Vienna already has a relatively harsh stance on immigrants. Last year, it slashed the national limit to 37,500. Now, Austria's defense minister is calling to set up EU-wide migration caps. The change would force maximum immigration levels on those states like Germany that currently don't have them. And last year, Austria also rejected 90% of asylum applicants, although those applying were already in the country. And that's why Doskozil also wants to make migrants apply for asylum before coming to the EU. It seems like he's not alone, as Innsbruck residents told us that they no longer feel safe.
Many refugees who come over here have no jobs and no future. When you have a lot of spare time and nothing to do, you start doing stupid things.
In the evening, I don't feel as safe as I did a couple of years ago. You can't blame the police for this. Politicians should be making changes.
The political situation needs to change. As for the sex assaults, it's terrible that they're happening here as well. I'm not scared, but it's no longer nice to go out in Innsbruck during the evenings.
Amid calls for a much tougher stance on migrants, there are also voices appealing for restraint and level-headedness. And we spoke to people on both sides.
We need better law enforcement in the field of asylum and migrants. We need to deport them, of course, and we need binding agreements with third countries that they take back their citizens. That's what we need, because we know from the statistics in Austria, we know from the Ministry of Internal Affairs that 90% of the asylum seekers who are not granted asylum remain in the country, and that's a big problem.
We condemn every single act such like that of sexual harassment. That means there is no excuse at all, and we do not have any problem with any harsh penalties. But in the same time, we are concerned about the whole atmosphere in the country. We cannot take these matters and put all those people, or refugees, or people with black skin, or whatever, or all Muslims, under a general suspicion and say, we cannot manage it. We can manage it.
In the wake of the ongoing migrant crisis, European officials and shop owners are resorting to their own methods of protection.